How to Book Bad Blood. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, we are not too far away from Bash.
Mm-hmm.
Why not think ahead?
Yep.
Some of us get the two confused already. So why not just go ahead with all the alliterations? We'll just jump into Bad Blood.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a lot of rivalries that don't look to be ending anytime soon, even with Bash in Berlin coming up this next weekend. So we thought, you know what? Screw it. We're going to look ahead. We're going to book Bad Blood ourselves. Do you want to go first or me?
Yeah. How do you want to do? You want to go match by match?
Yeah, I just want to hear your card, and I'll give you my card. Let's get this bread.
Okay. So I guess we'll start out hot. By hot, I mean Cody's going to open.
Ooh.
Cody and Kevin Owens.
Round two.
Just round two in it.
I had that too.
I feel like that's the most, I won't say what people are like exactly wanting, but maybe the most obvious.
Do you think there's any stipulation on that one? Street fight?
I guess that just depends on whether or not Kevin gets angry and turns in the middle. I think that's probably the only way you get something like that.
I think we're getting a turn after the Bash fight.
In between Bash and Bad?
No, I think we're going to get a turn right after the Bash fight.
Okay, that's what
I think Cody wins and then KO.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. And I don't really have a guess, and I don't know how I would want them to book that. But to run it back a second time, it just, WWE's kind of been doing that a lot lately, especially on these quote-unquote B shows. Just makes the most sense. You got to have Cody on the card in Atlanta.
Well, yeah, he's already there.
Exactly. He's been
outside the stadium.
He's been there for months.
Metro booming. So I agree with you. I did have Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens round two. I didn't order my card, right?
Yeah, I didn't either, but that was just what I had written down first because it seems like it's the most, like I said, most obvious.
A couple things that I wanted to do was get a couple non-title matches. I have a longer card. We know that WWE recently with their PLEs, they're going like six matches at most, excuse me. So my card's gonna be a bit longer, and a lot of these probably aren't gonna make it in terms of that, but I see all these as a possibility. And the first one I'm going to say, Damian Priest versus Dom Mysterio. I think that whatever happens at Bash, obviously Dom and Damian have to meet up at some point. Obviously Damian and Finn have to meet up at some point. But I think it works, in that order. I think we're going to get Damian, Dom, and then down the line, Finn, Damian. I think Bad Blood would be a great place to put it. You could add a stipulation to it. Damian Priest has been known for stipulations. He fought in that hell of a match with Bad Bunny at Backlash 2 years ago. That was stipulated. It was like a
San Juan street fight, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So give these two a moment to shine on the card.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I actually have Damian and Finn going at it at Bad Blood. Okay. That might seem quote unquote a little too soon, but I think this one ends, and we've seen it a lot with Triple H. There's some sort of effery that happens to prolong it. So I could see Judgment Day interfering in it. Finn gets a quick, easy win. And that's how they kind of keep building. But if it is Dom and Damian, I will not be upset. Damian is fighting somebody from Judgment Day.
Yes.
At Bad Blood.
100%. Without Rhea.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Because Rhea's going to have her own match.
Go ahead.
Versus who?
Liv Morgan.
Yes.
It's going to be Liv versus Rhea, and I put them in a Hell in a Cell. I think there's going to be 2 Hell in a Cell matches here tonight. I'll wait for my other one, but hell yeah, Liv and Rhea are going to go at it at Bad Blood. And I'm just hope that the way this rivalry has worked, lock them in a cell and let them go at it, man. They would put on a masterclass in that.
Yeah, 1,000%. I see that could be happening. I didn't put a stipulation on this one. You do mention 2 Hell in a Cell matches. This is one that I could see being a Hell in a Cell. The other one, I can already think ahead on what it's going to be, but no better way to kind of continue that rivalry. I guess the question from that would be, though, is who do you give the win to at that point?
Liv. If you want my honest opinion on it, I think we go backwards if Rhea ends with the title in this rivalry, and people are going to be like, what do you mean? Liv is the bad person in this, and all she's done is stolen everything, and the revenge tour has just been an evil masterclass, right? But sometimes the evil person should win in wrestling. Rhea has had multiple long title reigns, and I think Liv's put in the work and has kind of carried that women's division. For whatever you want to say about Raw's women's division, I know it has its issues, and I know Liv should be defending more. I'm not, I know that's there, but her work has just been A plus stuff. And I think that you get through this Liv Rhea stuff, and then you can really solidify her as a working champion and go forward from there with other rivalries.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, there's always that debate on, does the person make the champion, or does the championship make the person, sort of thing. Yeah. Liv's stock has risen a ton since she's gotten that title. Rhea doesn't need the title.
Nope.
Even though, like you said, Liv should be defending it more. We agree with that 100%. But it's nice to see that she's elevated her game. Sometimes you do see, like, I don't mean to throw shots at Bayley, but like Bayley had the belt.
Yep.
And it was kind of just like, meh.
Awful.
So it's nice to see Liv doing some good stuff. And like you said, she can win this feud, I think, is the way they should do it, and then go on to whatever else.
Agreed.
Because you can pencil Rhea in with anybody.
Literally,
Liv, you kind of can't do that with Liv.
Yeah,
but Rhea, absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. Speaking of women that need something or just deserve more, if this match doesn't fall to Bash at Berlin, because we're filming this before it, which it might, then it needs to happen at Bad Blood. Unholy Union needs to go against Jade and Bianca for the tag team titles, the women's titles. And Jade and Bianca finally need to take those things back. I mean, if you guys listen to us on a normal basis, you'll understand. Like, we say this all the time. It's reiterated almost in every video we mention Jade and Bianca. It's just time to put those belts on them and give us the story that we've all been waiting for, right? We've all been waiting for the long women's tag title reign with Jade and Bianca, where they beat everybody, hopefully make some people look good on the way up, give Jade a bunch of in-ring work for her just in-ring rust and making her better and better and better, and then hopefully one of them turns and we get the big Jade versus Bianca match at WrestleMania. Let's start this. Let's do it at Bad Blood.
Yeah, I didn't write that on there, but yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, yeah, I kind of only limited mine to 6-ish matches.
I put 9.
I understand why, but then I also ran into a kind of a problem about, like, okay, well, I think this person's going to hold this title. Who do I have them face?
Yeah.
Some of it with Bad Blood, you can do old rivalries or old partners, and you can have turns, and you can do that kind of stuff. But right now on TV, like, a lot of the stuff seems to be set in stone, and it's almost like SummerSlam being so close to Bash at Berlin has kind of hampered that a little bit. And then it's like, and then you turn around a month later and you have Bad Blood.
Yeah.
So it is very quick. It's almost like when they have those Saudi shows. It's very quick.
Yeah.
And the storylines kind of lack a little bit, but it is what it is.
What's another one for you?
I went with Braun Breaker.
Okay.
In Atlanta, obviously, Bad Blood. I figured he had to make the card, and I have him against Bronson Reed.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't know who's going to win that Intercontinental tournament. I don't even know who's in it as we're filming this, but Bronson Reed has been the only guy kind of on that Raw brand for me that's like, okay, I could see this happening. I guess there is one, I would maybe say Dragunov, but A, we haven't seen him on TV for a few weeks because Braun Breaker took him out. B, I also don't want to run that rivalry too much too soon. I was thinking about that the other day. Those matches have been really good. They were really good in NXT. I don't want to see it oversaturated too much.
Yeah.
So give me Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker and just a big old slugfest.
Yeah, I mean, your argument for both those matches as to why the Reed match should happen and against the Ilya match totally makes sense. Completely. I put Braun Breaker versus Ilya Dragunov, though. I think you're right about Bronson Reed. And I think it would be good for him to dominate the IC title tourney and get a match with Braun Breaker. For some reason, I just think he's going to get himself like disqualified or something throughout that IC tournament. And I think we're going to continue to see Braun Breaker and Braun Strowman run the big man game here for a few weeks on Raw and not be with the IC title just yet. That being said, when I thought about that, I was like, okay, well then, if you don't think Bronson Reed, for me, who do you think? And we got to bring Ilya back into this tournament, and I think it's just a perfect moment for him to just do it. You're right; they've already run the rivalry a few times, and you risk multiple things. You risk people getting fatigued about that match, and then you risk, well, Ilya's lost 4 times to Braun, so where do we go from here? So I agree, but
yeah, it's almost like one of those things too that. Don't get me wrong, when the match is on TV, if they put that match on there, I'm not going to be mad about it.
No.
But I do worry because, like, it's going to sound weird because Braun Breaker is a star, obviously. Bronson Reed, they're trying to build up. Dragunov, they're trying to build up. But it's like, who can maybe afford to take a loss? Like with Bronson Reed right now, at least what we've seen on TV, he just goes out there and destroys people.
Yeah.
And eventually Seth Rollins is going to be there. So like you could pencil him in for just a nicey loss. And you could just have him go on his way and destroy somebody else until Seth Rollins comes back.
Good point. I'll go ahead. One that I penciled in here very hesitantly because it's another one of those moments of like maybe it's too soon. Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. That's obviously the match that everybody wants to see. And I tried to pencil. I don't think. Let me gather my thoughts. I don't think we're going to get a Bloodline member returning before Bad Blood, right? So I don't think Roman is going to have a tag partner to just like take on the Bloodline tag team. So you schedule him one-on-one with one of them. I don't see him taking on Tama Tonga in a one-on-one match on a PLE. Not with Tonga Loa for sure. Jacob Fatu. It would be big time. I mean, that match would tear the house down. And what better setting than Bad Blood for that? I mean, it writes itself.
Yeah, I think Roman is going to be a Bad Blood. I think it's pretty obvious. The question, though, is do you have him against Jacob Fatu, like you said, or do you have him against Solo? Either way, I mean, it's kind of weird. They're kind of in a weird spot because I put him versus Solo, but like that's the whole feud, right? So it would be weird for that to take place kind of at like not a big four, but then the feud becomes bigger because then it's going to be family versus family, Bloodline 2.0 versus Bloodline, Survivor Series, but then like it would make sense to have him fight like an enforcer, like a Jacob Fatu, but Jacob Fatu is already so much better than Solo that it makes it tough. You know what I mean?
I don't think Roman pins Solo till Rumble. Yeah, I just don't see him pinning till Rumble because I think, and I want as a fan, at least for this story, I like the theory that The Rock is controlling Solo. Solo is being puppeted by The Rock. And so if you get him pinned at Rumble finally, then that makes more realistic return time for The Rock. So that's why I have Fatu here. And then when Roman beats Jacob Fatu in some way, shape, or form, then you can start adding the members. We can start adding the members post Bad Blood, going into, Survivor Series and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that even though like it's Cody's hometown, so you think maybe he main events, I would say that this, and there's a whole lot of matches that might main event. I think maybe this Roman whoever main events,
yeah,
and then you maybe get some returns to help Roman out. So I mean,
Bad Blood,
yeah,
okay.
But it might not be everybody, right? It might just be like a Jimmy or something. You get somebody. You don't get the whole thing because then you're giving it away too soon. But then it's like you have to start planting those seeds sooner or later because Survivor Series is right around the corner,
right?
So maybe you have kind of like a funky looking finish, like kind of how like they had with Money in the Bank with Solo, how Solo pinned Cody.
Yeah,
maybe you have some sort of funky. Jimmy comes and rescues Roman, but then he's also outnumbered, and
still not enough.
And Solo maybe gets a pin on Roman.
Yeah, I can see it
because you could, as weird as that kind of sounds, like that would bring some legitimacy to Solo, or at least it should.
Yeah,
it might not, and some people might receive that weird and be like, "There's no chance." I understand that as well, but storyline wise, you would think, hey, there's legitimacy here. He just pinned Roman Reigns.
Yeah. So moving on a little bit from there. I do have LA Knight defending his title here at Bad Blood. I have him in a triple threat match with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes.
So we're just done with Santos after
the one. Maybe we throw him in and get a fatal four-way. It just seems like there is a little bit of glue stuck between those four guys in that the mid card of the show of SmackDown right now. Just because we talk about SmackDown doesn't have much depth, right? So these are the guys who, if you're going to change up who your PLE SmackDown roster characters are, these are the guys you got to throw in there. So you got to have Andrade take on LA Knight. You got to have Carmelo Hayes again, So I was just like, well, screw it. Andrade and Melo, they're in a 7-game series. Maybe you run that back a few more times between there, and maybe they maybe they put stakes, that okay, well,
sirloins.
Motherfucker. Maybe they put stakes on there like, hey, we're not doing a 7-match series for no reason. Maybe the winner of this 7-match series should get a shot at the title. And then the 7th match ends in a count out or something, and they both get a title shot or something. Something like that.
I gotcha. Yeah, I kind of, when we had this idea and started to think about it, I left that match off my list, off my card.
It didn't make your Jericho list?
It did. It did not.
Your list of Jericho?
It's weird because there's only so many matches.
Yeah.
And SmackDown hasn't really been doing it for me. Raw's got the better stories, the better rivalries as of right this second. And you have a couple that you're going to get from SmackDown, the Cody and Bloodline one. I think those are for sure. But I think it's mostly a Raw-dominated PLE there.
Yeah, I agree.
So I guess you can, if you've got more matches, because you wrote more than I did, we can do the rest of yours, and then we can do the big one, I guess.
I only have one more, or I have two more. I'm guessing one of your big ones is my big one, is one of my big ones. But in terms of Gunther, I think Gunther's going to be here. I don't think he's going to be fighting Randy Orton for round 2. I think Gunther and Ludwig are going to go at it at Bad Blood. I think that Ludwig that's his storyline right now. His storyline right now is I am not in the shadow of Gunther. I'm not Gunther's, towel boy. Whenever he comes out to the ring, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee always mention that. Mm-hmm. He's had promos where he said that he wants to prove it. Gunther doesn't have a guy lining up for him after Randy. There's no World Heavyweight Championship tournament, right?
Right.
And you got to say, okay, well, there's an IC title tournament. That means all those guys are out of the world title picture. Damian Priest is going to be doing Judgment Day stuff for the foreseeable future. Same with Finn Balor. Same with all them. Who does that leave? Well, the right-hand man to make his turn and it be time for it.
Yeah, I don't dislike that idea. I think that that's a good idea. I didn't put Kaiser on this because for me, Kaiser hasn't, as of right this second, before, recording this before Bash at Berlin, he still obviously has a turn face. It would be kind of like a quick turn because it would just feel kind of forced, obviously, if he's a heel and it's heel Gunther versus heel Ludwig, unless he somehow screws.
I think they could make heel work. They're both Ludwig's such an easy guy to hate.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely is. But for me, it's I don't know. I would kind of want that, I was your sidekick for so long, but I'm not a sidekick. That story itself seems like it needs to be a babyface. So I feel and we just kind of just saw Ludwig just return. Yeah. So it seems very quick. So that's why I didn't put that on there. I actually didn't put Gunther on my
I thought about that. I thought about not putting one on there.
Might be shocking, but like you said, everything you just laid out, I think that there's a really good chance he's not on the card, and I think there's a really good chance maybe Nia Jax isn't on the card.
I didn't have her on here.
I didn't even think about putting her on the card.
I don't see it.
I really think that there's going to be some champions on this one because they always seem to do it for B pay-per-views, PLEs, which I guess when I was writing these down and I was thinking, man, I don't have Gunther. That's the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
It brought me to a question. Do we go back to brand-specific PLEs?
You can't. And the reason you can't is because I don't think SmackDown's strong enough to carry a PLE by itself right now. I mean, I just mentioned it when I was talking about my match for LA Knight. It's just, it feels like there is Street Profits, DIY, LA Knight, Andrade, Santos Escobar, and Carmelo Hayes, whoever Cody's fighting, and then the Bloodline stuff. And the Bloodline stuff would be one match. Cody would be one match. The LA Knight, all those guys together would be one PLE match. You could have a tag team match. And then you could scrape together a women's tag team match, maybe. But if you're going to make it brand specific, that means it has to be Unholy Union and Jade versus and Jade Cargill. And I just don't see it. I think Raw could do it. Raw could scrape together one.
Yeah, I only asked that because there are so many people that don't make the PLEs. There are so many titles that don't make the PLEs. We talk every week about tag divisions are not great. Well, guess what? Tag division titles aren't going to be on the PLEs. You're missing a whole women's title. You're missing a a men's potential world title as well. You said you have the 4 matches. Like, you really only need like 5. So you could have a random feud in there for, just a feud's sake for building somebody up. I agree. I agree. SmackDown is definitely not strong in terms of their feuds and rivalries, but there's almost too much talent right now, and they're so widespread that it's like we need to give them ample time. And when you think about building rivalries and feuds, it gives you an extra month.
I was just about to say that, playing devil advocate with myself of like, yeah, you're right, but you would have a whole extra month to build up your roster, right? You could do it. And when I think about that, like, yeah, but I just, I think then you run into the idea of, okay, yeah, you have enough guys on your roster. Are there enough stars though to sell your PLE every other month? Like, you're not, like, is Cody going to keep selling out buildings for you? Is Roman going to come back and work every pay-per-view or PLE if it's 2 months apart? If that's the same thing, if you're going to get Cody and Roman every 2 months in a SmackDown PLE, yeah, you can do it. But right now, I think that they have the star power as a conglomerate of Raw and SmackDown that sells out buildings more so than one brand being able to just sell out a whole building by itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think Raw could definitely sell out a building by itself. I think that when you talk about the star power, like on SmackDown, like, I would say that if you do the brand specific pay-per-views again, it makes it to where your weekly television theoretically should be better because you're getting a Cody now that's going to fight on SmackDown, right? Like, you're getting your champions at that point. They might not do it.
Not necessarily with them.
You say that, but if they don't do that, then you're having, let's hypothetically, we'll go down and say they do it. Then you're having Cody Rhodes wrestle 7 times a year, 8 times a year. Like, that's just terrible. So you would have to have those stars.
But we all know that at this point they get their matches at the live events,
but what better way
to me? My biggest fear of this is you give Raw 2 months, and I have to watch 2 months of CM Punk walking out there, standing week in, week out of Punk and Drew walking out and trying to cut a promo and making it work. And then it's like, you got to have payoff matches. Payoff matches at PLEs are used in great stories to keep your interest. So it's like, could I go 2 months without Liv and Rhea squaring off in a ring in an actual match format? Could I go 2 months without, stuff like that?
But that's why you do that on the weekly TV.
Yeah, I mean,
not everything would be they basically right now the way they work is your B pay-per-views PLEs lead up to your big 4.
Right.
Why not have those B pay-per-views PLEs mean something again? Have your weekly television have some impactful stars wrestle on there that we say we don't get those, right?
I agree.
We week in, week out.
If I got a promise from Triple H saying, okay, we're gonna make it every 2 months, and guess what, you're gonna get to see your stars wrestle more weekly. Where's the petition? Where's the paper to sign?
Yeah,
I'll do it right now. But the thing is, I just don't. I don't see current WWE's format letting guys like Cody wrestle 2 or 3 times a month on SmackDown and stuff. I just don't see it.
That's fair. I mean, I definitely get what you're saying, but it's like, maybe it's more so a want for me because you say, we'll talk about the Punk Drew as we'll get into the match here for Bad Blood, but it's like you say, could I deal with it for 2 months building up or whatever? Well, we've already kind of done that. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? With
like
what?
You were saying, like, can I go 2 months in between a pay-per-view with Punk and Drew just coming out cutting promos?
But that's what's made it. But that's what's given us the fatigue.
Yeah, that's true.
We're sitting here now. We're going, okay, we are not seeing them fight enough, right? So if they're, and I get with them, you have to put the asterisks of like they both had injuries during this, so that's why maybe they didn't square off at all.
Yeah,
if randomly we got like the New Day and back in the day, like right now we'd be getting, if this was 2007, 8, we would be getting the New Day with CM Punk taking on Karrion Kross and AOP with Drew McIntyre, where we mixed feuds into like just a fun tag team match. We would get that. Now it doesn't feel that way, so we're not getting matches like that anymore.
And I'd even say last point, and then we'll go on to the match here. You say that you don't like the long title reigns.
Yeah.
If they do brand specific, yes, they could still have long title reigns, but you can have people drop the belt, I feel like, at those PLEs more often.
Triple H loves his long title reigns, bro.
I know he does, but like, why not?
Unless you're a tag team champ. If you're a tag champ, you can get your Achilles cut at any moment.
Why not have like a Braun Breaker and we'll just say Dragunov for your match here. Why not have them go on a Raw for like an IC title match randomly on a Monday, and then they have some stuff for a few weeks, 3 weeks later, they run it back again. Okay, well now it's 1-1. Now we meet at the PLE.
Yeah, no, all the things you're saying are great. The only reason I'm against it is because I don't think WWE Weekly Television has proven that they will make those changes that will make it fun. Like, I think we get what we get now on Weekly Television, which is good for having a PLE every month. Yeah. I don't think this format would work for 2-month splits. That's what it is.
I just feel like if you do it this way, the B PLEs
there would be no BPLE.
Well, that's the goal. That's what I mean. Like these B PLEs would actually mean something. You'd get something from them, because like this Bash at Berlin, you're kind of just like, you're not like, people aren't really super excited for it.
Yeah, I agree. We each got one more. Back to our regular scheduled programming.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to go.
No, that was awesome. Long. That was awesome. I like that conversation. Anyway, we have one more match, right? Yep. The main event, and I put it in a Hell in a Cell. Mm-hmm. Punk versus Drew, the finale. Yeah. I think it needs a stipulation here at Bad Blood. It would be a waste if it didn't, and people are going to go, they just had a strap match, though. Okay, we need if it was up to me, I'd want them to bleed type deal, right? I want some good old fashioned lock these guys in a cage that have been running from each other for months, and let them beat the hell out of each other, man.
Yeah. Yeah, as much as I said Bloodline and whoever you want to pick, and Roman, maybe main events, if it is a Hell in a Cell, this should be the main event.
Yes.
Bad Blood is historically where the debut Hell in a Cell was. Bad Blood just kind of has that Hell in a Cell vibe to it.
You can't name a pay-per-view Bad Blood and not bring some sort of
blood.
Yeah, not bring some blood, right?
Yeah, as long as I agree. I think this should be in a Hell in a Cell. Just as long as it's not as bad as Edge and Finn, because if there is blood, let it go. And I understand that was a special circumstance because Finn got that pretty deep gash. Destroyed. Yeah, but it's just like, let there be blood and let it be. Like, don't stop the match. Let us enjoy it. Have that free flowing.
Who comes out on top?
I don't know.
Who wins the CM Punk Drew McIntyre feud at the end of the day?
Does CM Punk get hurt?
Always.
Well, then I guess it's Drew McIntyre.
No, I think Punk stands tall, because I think we're 100% gonna book our way toward a Seth CM Punk title feud at some point. So
yeah, I think that's probably the case as well. I think Punk wins. I don't know I don't know. We're about to play. I was about to play a side tangent fantasy booker thing, but yeah, I think Punk probably wins this one. McIntyre can afford the losses more than Punk can.
100%. Well, that is what we think Bad Blood should look like here in a month. Let us know in the comments what you want to see at Bad Blood. Yeah. We're really entering that time of WWE, the year of WWE, the time of the year in WWE where they really start ramping things up. It feels like around this time every year is when we really start getting good content. So let's hopefully Bash is good, and then we'll move our way to Bad Blood and just get this thing on the roll, huh? Anyway, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to us wherever you get your social or podcast Apple, Spotify, etc. And follow us on Discord as well. We have a link tree in our bio. Come talk wrestling. We had some people at Raw last week sending us videos. A lot of fun time. It's just a great place to talk wrestling. But as always, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.